If you work with thermal imagers in maintenance, you know that many similar thermal images often make their management and allocation more difficult. That's why we developed the Testo site recognition technology. It automatically recognizes measurement sites using a code and allocates the images correctly right away. Management in the archive on your PC is also automatically correct. There are 2 videos in total for Testo site recognition. This one is about creating the codes by importing inventory lists. The other one is concerned with the manual creation of codes for measurement site recognition. If you have a large range of equipment to test, there's probably already an inventory list. In this video, you'll see how you can easily consolidate your existing inventory lists with Testo site recognition in order to use Testo site recognition efficiently in your maintenance work in the future. In order to be able to import the data later on, they have to be available in a certain form. As a first step, we generate the corresponding Excel template from the Testo IRsoft. Then click on the tab Archive. Behind this in the software is the Site Recognition function. Now add a project, folder, and a measurement object to the archive in the IRsoft. Then click on the archive at the very top of the list. Using the function Export to File, you obtain the required Excel template. In it, you'll find one table sheet each for project data, named project, folder data, named folder, measurement sites, named measure site. Let's start with the project data, the project. At least one project must be present in the file. The stored default value can be deleted. Addresses can be stored for a project. As a rule, you'll enter, for example, a production site. If you have facilities with different address data, create a project for each address. The ID is in the left-hand column. For this, you can freely select alphanumerical characters. Important: this ID must be used in the next step as a so-called parent value for folders or measurement sites. In the next column, you enter the name of your project. In our example, the 2 production facilities, Lenzkirch and Titisee. The parent value of a project is the uppermost folder in the archive. However, you can also leave this column empty. Testo IRsoft will then automatically allocate this value in the import. Address data for the projects can be entered here. We'll use the addresses of our 2 production facilities. Now to the table sheet folder. The stored default value can be deleted here too. For a clearer overview of the measurement sites, folders can be arranged in a hierarchical structure. Here too, an ID can be allocated on the left. In the next column is space for the name of the folders and subfolders. In our example, we have different departments, and we create a folder for each one. You can input these, or simply copy and paste folders and subfolders from your inventory list. The parent value describes which point in the hierarchy the folder will later be displayed under. This can be either the ID of a project from the table sheet Projects or the ID of a folder from the current sheet. In our example, the production is in Lenzkirch and receives the parent value P1. This folder will then later appear at the Lenzkirch facility. Thermal imager production, however, is in Titisee and is therefore allocated to the parent value P2. This folder will then later appear at the Titisee facility. We also allocate the departments. Please note, Folders are optional. The sheet can be left empty. In this case, all measurement sites would be created as a list under the project. Now to the Excel table sheet Measure site. First of all, we delete the default value. Now we create a measurement site for each piece of equipment. ID, as usual. Next column, the name of the measurement site. Here you can simply insert the measurement sites by copy and paste out of your inventory list. To allocate the measurement sites from our example to a folder structure, we now have to fill in the parent column. The switch cabinet 678, for example, is situated in flue gas analyzer production, and its ID F3 is entered as parent. If you are preparing the import for the use of Testo codes, the marker ID column is left empty. The ID column must always be left empty. The Testo IR soft allocates this ID during import. In the following columns, you can predefine settings for the thermal imager. These are then automatically applied in the imager on site during the measurement, as soon as the code of the measurement object has been scanned and confirmed. Here, for example, you can determine temperature limit values and an alarm color for the switch cabinet 678. So, the preparations are now finished. Save the Excel file with your project data and return to the Testo IR soft. The data are always imported below the object in the archive which is currently selected. To import an entire archive, please make sure that the uppermost archive is selected before you start the import. Click here on Import from File in order to import the prepared Excel template. The archive is then automatically generated. Now the codes for our measurement sites have to be printed out. To do this, select Print New Markers. You can either print a code for one selected measurement site or print out the codes for all new measurement sites at once. In printing, the codes are converted into a PDF. You have the choice of A4 or letter format. The positions of the individual codes are freely selectable. The PDF with the codes can be printed out on a printer. It can be printed on conventional self-adhesive labels available in retail or on other materials suitable for your printer. Okay, and now you can already attach your codes to the respective measurement sites. If you already have your own codes in use, for example, QR codes, data matrix, code 128, you can of course also use these to scan on site. In this case, you have to enter the name encoded by the existing code into the table sheet Measure site in the column Marker ID during the preparation of the import data as we showed you earlier. Whether you've generated Testo codes or are using your own codes, the transfer of the data now takes place by USB to the thermal imager. From now on, the Testo 883 recognizes your codes and saves the information in the thermal images. Let's try scanning a code. As an example, we have a Testo code here. This could of course also be your QR code. Before the measurement, we scan the code and the imager automatically recognizes the measurement site. We confirm this, and all subsequent images are stored under this measurement site. The images are transferred to the computer by the Testo IR soft. To do this, switch the imager on and connect it by USB to the computer. The Image Import Assistant starts automatically. If images have been created with Testo SiteRecognition, please select Import to SiteRecognition Archive when using the Import Assistant. The images are automatically stored with the allocated measurement object, and we can open them for analysis purposes. A short digression: the archive function, behind which Testo SiteRecognition is to be found in the IR soft, can also be used very effectively to search for thermal images. For instance, for projects, settings, and properties of measurement sites, folders, or for thermal image properties and settings. In this case, I'm looking for switch cabinet 678. I select this image, for example, and open it with the button Open Selected Images. The image opens automatically in the tab Analyze. There is a special video on our channel on the many analysis options. However, I'm going straight to creating a report. I start the Report Assistant after selecting the tab Report. Here I select the template Industry, Thermography, including SiteRecognition. I select my images and enter the relevant information for the report. At the end, I get a preview, and as you can see, the measurement site is displayed under the image in the report. Finished. And that's how thermography with Testo site recognition and inventory list import works. Watch the other video too, and learn how to work with manually created codes.